Let me ask you something. How's your Christian walk? Do you feel like something's missing? Do you feel like you're stuck in neutral? Have you ever asked yourself, why am I struggling with my walk with Christ? Why do I feel like I'm just going through the motions? Well, you're not alone. Stay with us. Welcome to the channel. My name is Keith, and in part one of this episode, Pastor Ed Carifio is going to take us through Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2 to help us understand how to put our faith and trust in Christ into practice. Here's Pastor Ed.
Yes, hello again and welcome again to the series, Have You Not Read? In this series, what I'd like to do is take a look and focus on what the Apostle Paul had to say to us in Romans 12, verses 1 through 2. So before we go any further, let's look at what Paul said, Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Those are some beautiful verses right there. And what I see is these verses are a call to us for an examination into our lives as believers. Not a surface examination to see how we're doing, but rather one that prods and extends deeply into our hearts, into our minds. We're different than the rest of the world. The Bible calls Christians in various places a called out assembly, a royal priesthood, a chosen generation, an holy nation, and a peculiar people. We are called to be in this world, but not of the world. We are called in chapter 2 of 1 John to not love the things of the world. So Paul gives us 11 chapters of just heavy theology and doctrine in the book of Romans. And now we're being called to put it into practice here, beginning in Romans chapter 12 for the rest of the book. And whatever ministry you have, whatever ministry God has called you to do, however you serve him, serving the Lord, whatever it is, has its foundations right here in these two verses right here. And I guess the questions that we need to ask ourselves is, how are we doing today? Do we ever feel like that something is missing in our walk with God? Ever feel like you're stuck in neutral? Are you ever bored with being a Christian? Ever find yourself asking, why am I struggling so much in my everyday walk? Why do I feel so spiritually out of sorts? Like I'm just going through the motions? That I'm really not motivated a lot of the time? How do I break out of this rut? How do I get back that excitement I felt when I first became a believer in Jesus Christ? If any of this describes you, by the way, you are not alone. Every believer has been there when we feel like we're more like dried raisins than plump grapes. The answers, by the way, are not found in seminars. They're not found in retreats, in conferences. Nothing wrong with any of those things, but 2 weeks after they're over, we're right back many times into the same rut we were in before. Which is why these verses in Romans 12 are so important, and they're even urgent. They focus not on what we can get from God, but what we can give God. Paul begins by 3 simple words. I beseech you, actually 4. I beseech you, brethren. He's speaking to Christians here. Some translations have urge, some have exhort. And whatever word is there in your translation, it indicates that Paul is more than just gently asking. He is actually pleading with us here in these verses. And what follows is the solution. and guidelines to us as believers to get on, to get back on, and stay on the right track in order to have that transformed life that we will be looking at. In the next video, we will begin looking at Paul's instructions here. Believer, God knows the struggles and the difficulties we face as Christians living in this world, and he hasn't left us uninformed. So after all the theology has been given, now comes the way to live it. This is where the rubber meets the road that we'll be looking at.